Hello, David Paul here, or good morning to everyone. An update on what's going on at site number, what is this one? Number 3, I think this one is, yeah. Anyway, this is the housing support site, in other words, the pillars for the cabin. I wanted to make a comment about something that happens with people who do turnery, and an idea I have for speeding up the job, so I'll get to that next. But anyway, I was lying in bed the other day and I was thinking, oh man, it's such a pain in the neck not having a chair to sit on. I had a chair and it fell to bits, and I don't really want to spend money on seats, and I only need one seat for me, like a stool sort of thing, and a little table. So I'll worry about the little table later. But it occurred to me that the tree that I cut down for the logs to support the cabin has a stump left on it. And so what I've done this morning, and well, over a couple of days, it's taken a long while to do this, I have cut through this log. So now I've got a section of log here, which is relatively easy to move, even though I've just cut it. It's I can still bool it out of here, so I will trim the edges straight, and then I will make it 24 inches tall. Now the standard height is 23 inches for a seat. I've checked this out and that's about right for me, but if I do it 24 inches tall, that gives me the opportunity to trim it and dress it off at the top later and make it nice. I will knock off the bark from this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a router to make the thing circular. There will be patches where it's not circular, and that'll add to the interest, but I'm hoping to create a sort of cylinder of wood rather than just a rough looking log, and that's the idea for that. So that is going to be a chair. So there you go, there's your seating system for your log cabins if you're getting into this. Now, just having a recap on where we are with the logs. If you see, that rocks, it moves easily now. It was never really like that. It was very, very heavy. I couldn't have just flicked it around like that. Let's try the other one. So this is a full circuit one that's got the bark on all the way around, and as I'd said previously, I made these cuts because that material will be getting removed from the log anyway, and in addition to that, it is also assisting with the drying of the log. So let's try this. Not bad at all. It's good. That rolls okay. Not great. Let's try this one here. Okay. Oh, that's a nice one. That's really easy. I can handle that and I can move it myself. Now, as I've often said, I'm 70-year-old now, and I'm careful not to injure myself. I don't want to damage myself doing some of the jobs that I do. So if something feels like it's too heavy, then I'll just give up to it. You know, maybe I could have done this myself, I don't know, but I was discovered by another person in the forest who is also living in the forest, and you know, we had a discussion, and I checked him out, and he seems kosher, he seems to be okay. And I said, oh, I like to be on my own. So he's gone and left me on my own. So he's kind of ticked the box, in other words, by doing what I said. Means that he's not a nuisance, so therefore that's good. So that's an asset. So it's good to make friends, but you've got to check folks out. So what happened was, I had another log, which is the central log, which I've pointed out on previous videos. I should be, you may notice I've started to number my videos, and I'm going to start referring back to them. I got that idea from Robert Murray Smith, who does a sort of engineering thing. So I can refer to those in a future video. So anyway, down at the bottom here, there was one of my giant logs, and it was here, and it was a problem to me because I just couldn't move it. So there's a little hill, which is this thing, which takes me to the path. Now what's that? That's about at least 10 feet. It's 10 feet in distance and probably about 6 feet high, the hill. And that was the big impediment, because the rest of the way I can push it down the lane by just rotating it, just kicking it along. So it sat here, and it was getting lighter and lighter, but it was still never light enough for me to shift, and I do have to get on with the job. So anyway, when this guy turned up, and I gave him one of my trolleys, because I don't want to have too much stuff, and I don't think I'm going to take this trolley anywhere. I may take it to Portugal, but then again, yeah, I probably ultimately will take my best trolley. But this is one of the ones that wasn't so good, and it. So I decided I'm going to get rid of this. So I said, "Do you want a trolley?" So I've given him the trolley, and on impulse I'd also got 2 water barrels. I only really need one, so I've given him another one. I've left that out in the forest for him to pick up. So anyway, down here, I said, well, there's one. He wanted to give me money, and I said, no, I don't want any money, because he looked like he had less money than me. So I said, well, there is one thing you can do. Me thinking that I will get him to assist me to get this log out of here. So what he does is he goes down, he crouches down there. He says, oh, you want this out of here? Crouches down there, lifts the log up, flips it over, bang. Goes down again, flips it over, bang. Third time, bang. Then onto the road, and there you go. So there it is. So that, I don't know what, it's rather like in chemistry, you know, like an activation energy, the very thing that you just can't do. And it's a key in a lock kind of moment, you know, like where somebody does something that facilitates you and moves the project forward. And there it is. There it is in all its glory. It's sitting in dappled sunlight here, and what I really want to do is push it up the lane into full sunlight, but for the moment I'm happy with this. This will do. So that's that, and hopefully this will dry a lot more and become easy for me, because tonight I'm going to try and get that back to the cabin. So as you can see, it's rocking easily with my foot. It moves easy. Now, turnery. Putting things on a lathe and turning them to make things like bowls and plates and God knows what. Well, you know, in the modern world, it's a fashion now that people are making tables, and they're using like really crappy, rubbishy looking wood with what you call a veiny edge on it, and they're filling the gaps between it with epoxy resin, and often stuff that doesn't even look very natural, like blue and red, and then they're making rivers out of it and putting tinsel in it and God knows what, and they're happy with that. So if they can be happy with that, why can't I transgress and do the following? So what you see here is there was the piece of wood blocking the entry to this little pathway here, because the tree's fallen. This is a hawthorn, and it's in the process of just falling over. Hawthorn's very nice hard wood, but you will notice that the ends of the wood here and over there, they've got these cracks in them. Let's go over here. Look at the cracks. In fact, that piece there, look at all the little fractures in the wood there on the end of that stump. Now this here is actually still attached to the tree, so it's being fed water from the tree, so it's actually the best of the situation in a sense for not shrinking, and it's still got millions of cracks in it. So God knows, if I was to cut that off and deliberately dry it rapidly, which is what I'm proposing to do, not with this wood but with other, you'll end up with a whole load of cracks, loads of them. Funny enough, this alder stuff doesn't seem to crack. I think it's got like a straw-like structure in its grain, and it wicks out the moisture rapidly from the interior, so they're not differential forces developing. But this one's a bad one. Okay, so what I'm proposing, and anybody who's into turnery to suggest, is that you take an offcut off a tree, and then what you got to do is you got to paint the ends with paraffin wax, and then you put it away and you leave it 1 year for every inch of thickness, and then it's just perfect, and then you can turn it and make bowls and God knows what out of it. So can anybody see a problem with this? Well, you might die before you ever get anything done. So there is a guy up in the northeast. He had a whole like warehouse of this wood which he used to sell, but most of it is still there unsold, and the guy's dead now. So that's in Keenley side. They specialise in that sort of thing. So what I'm suggesting is, if we're okay with using epoxy resin to stick things and fill things and do stuff, here's a possibility. Why not take a piece of wood like that, or even a wider section, and deliberately dry it. Actually put it on top of it, put it in an airing cupboard, stick it on top of a stove or something like that, and warm it, and it will crack like crazy. It'll all crack and be a right mess. Then you can get a thing called infusion epoxy resin. So what you do, my suggestion would be one of two colours, possibly brown as well. Mix some black in it, so you've now got a black epoxy resin infusion mixture, and stand it on its end, so this is facing upwards, and dribble the epoxy resin into the cracks, so that you refuse the wood back together again. It's all glued back together, it's got integrity, there's nothing weak about it. And anyway, these things are strong off the scale. That's way stronger than what is ever needed anyway. You can use wood structurally with cracks in it. So you do that, you infuse the coloured epoxy resin, and I would think what would really look nice would be either black, because it looks like the staining that you get with when you get this stuff, it's called what do you call it, spalted. When it's attacked by a fungus, you get all these black lines in, which are really beautiful. And I'm only guessing, I will guess that it will go through the material, follow all of the crack, and if it doesn't, when you turn it, then you can continue filling as you're turning it down to whatever you want to make, a bowl or a goblet or God knows what. And I think that'll produce a really terrific effect, and it'll look really stunning. And of course, you'll be able to do it in a matter of days instead of having to do 1 inch per year. So what you're going to end up with, you're going to end up with a material which is going to be a sort of art form of its own, because it's going to be a repaired thing. Now in Japan, I heard about a thing, I can't remember the name of it. If I remember, I'll put it in the description. It's where they have crockery and it's broken, and they glue it back together and it becomes a sort of art form. And I thought, oh man, this is crazy. They mix a bit of gold colouring in it, you know. And I thought, this is a stupid idea, typical Japanese, you know, crazy ideas, you know. And then, so I go and check it out on YouTube, and sure enough, man, that looks good. That's really, it's that Japanese aesthetic, wabi-sabi thing, the imperfection thing. So what we do is we put those cracks in deliberately, infuse the epoxy resin in, turn it, and then get this particular style of thing, which might catch on. You might end up with a whole load of people like turning their nose up at the regular stuff, saying it's boring. So on top of all of that, I have another idea, which is to put red epoxy resin in. Now there are a few woods which have red streaks in them, One of them is a type of alder in the United States, I can't remember its name, but it gets infected with a fungus and it's got all these red lines in. So what I'm also suggesting is try red as well. So red and black. Now if you wanted to create a look that was as though it was just the resin of the wood, then choose a coloration which just looks like it's filled with natural resin of the tree, and that would be brown. So there would be my three colours. I wouldn't be going for things like green and blue because it'll look completely artificial, although you might like that sort of thing. Some people, they do turnery and they're just not happy with the colour of natural wood, and they're stain it up to the living daylights. One guy on the internet, he uses spalted maple, and as he said, you know, it's as far as I'm concerned, this is a paint by numbers kit. So he paints all different colours into the different sections of the spalted maple. So why not? I did mention on a previous video about liking salmon coloured wood. Salmon coloured wood, and I was, you know, I'm singing the praises all the time of maple. So I'm into health and stuff like that, and there's a thing which is supposed to be an antioxidant food colorant. It's the sort of thing that you get in shrimp, and in particular salmon, and I think it's called xanthaxin. And so I do some checking on it, and it's up for sale, so you can add it to food and things. Oh great, right. And I look at it and it's got a stunning, beautiful colour. So one of my experiments is going to be, I'm going to buy some of this xanthaxin, because it is a food colorant. It's not going to harm you if you put it in things. So I'm going to try staining wood with that and see how it works, you know, and see if it lasts and so on. Although if it did fade, you could actually touch it up, I guess, with more xanthaxin. But you get a whole bag, like a whole kilo of this stuff for a few quid. So, God, I'll be able to stain up a forest of wood. So you're going to get that pinky salmon-looking cedar wood look, but very cheap. And that's it. So that's the project now. The project now is to get that log home and hopefully get it installed in the next couple of days. But well, we'll see what progress I make tonight. Hopefully it'll dry a little bit more in the sun today, and that's it. So bye for now. Atilago, makita tayo sakana. See you later. Jesus be with you.